Want to say hello and good morning to our listeners from around the world. I want to welcome you to another edition of This Morning with Soulivity, broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Wesley Johnson, and I'm so glad you're here. We have another great Hot Topics show for you. But I am joined today by some very, very special friends, amazing co hosts, brilliant women, Tami Gaines and Candice Harper. Good morning to both of you.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
How has your week been, ladies?
My week was really fun. I went on Wednesday night to a thing called a Twilight Tattoo on Fort Myers.
What?
What is
Yeah,
that?
I think I told you guys how my so he does all the like basically for the army, like he's the head of all of it.
Hmm.
And so they do this event called the Twilight Tattoo, and it's really cool because they have like all these different middle schoolers come, and then they have groups of different army soldiers throughout the year. So there's a bunch of guys that are dressed like George Washington in their revolutionary
Oh,
uniform,
wow. Oh,
you
that's
know,
great.
and then like, of course World War I, and I think Confederacy uniforms, or obviously the Union. And they come out and they talk about, like, they have a representative that looks like a historical figure in the army, and they
Hmm.
talk about it, and the army band plays music, and the army band is a banging band, like they're so good.
Wow.
And they actually fake shoot at you, which that part was like,
That's awkward.
yeah, but it was really
Don't
fun
shoot
because
at me.
right? It like scared the crap out of us. My sister and everybody, they all expect it because they're in that army life. But what was cool is that we got to sit in, like, nice VIP seats and, have the overview.
Uh-huh.
So it was a cool event.
Oh, that sounds
Wow.
fun. Well, it
Yeah.
sounds a little weird, but it sounds fun.
It's weird because you got to be into that sort of like military culture stuff, which I
Right.
so am not. Like, even though my dad was in the Air Force, I am not a military person. Like, I don't, but my sister, because of her husband, they've been married for, over 35 years, and he's been in the army since then. And
Hmm.
Hmm.
so they're very immersed in like military culture, and it's very
Uh-huh.
much a community. Like, you're either
Right.
in it or you're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Well,
Yeah.
that's when they
Wow.
talk about like military families, right? Like
Yeah.
generations of, people.
Generations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it becomes like a legacy. And then also the people who are in the military, they treat each other like family as well because they all live on these bases together. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it's a whole culture. Like, and my
There
sister is like the optimal military wife. Like, she's so good at it. She writes a blog. She's like,
Dang. Wow.
yeah.
there's
Go
a
sis.
guy there's a guy here who walks around town. I've been here for like 20 something years, and every Saturday he has like his musket
Oh,
in this
God.
big woolly like vest, and he's wearing like just what you said, like army clothes from the 1800s.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So I actually stopped him one day. I was like, "Where are you going?" Because I see him like every Saturday for 20 years. He said, "Oh, I do a reenactment at such and such
Had
a
to be.
place."
Oh,
Had to
wow.
be.
Um, so I took the kids, all of them.
Wow.
That's when they
Oh,
were little.
cool.
Yeah, no, we were like, these are adults. They really believe that they are these characters.
Well, I mean, that's a whole culture too. That like
Yeah, it is.
war reenactment culture. What
Yeah,
does this mean?
Hmm.
that was crazy. I didn't.
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I was like,
thanks.
let's go to McDonald's, y'all.
They think, thank you, mom.
Mm,
Yeah. Everybody has to have their something. And, for people who are like
Absolutely.
committed to that, that is their thing. Like,
yeah.
you know,
Oh man. Well, I mean, it's kind of cool that we're talking about this since this is here in the United States Memorial Day weekend, and so
mm,
part of this is all about remembering our honored dead, our nation's treasures. So we're gonna be talking about that in a minute.
yeah.
Tammy, any special things that you did over the last few days?
Um, I had a chance to catch up. I got a really good life lesson, business
Okay.
lesson. I had asked a friend of mine to invest in one of my companies, and he did.
Cool.
And yeah, except he was looking for like payback by now. So I wasn't
Oh.
not calling him,
Mm-hmm.
just busy and the pandemic, everything. So
Mm-hmm.
we had a chance to catch up. We took for like an hour and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, Tammy, I don't even care about the money. I just care about our friendship. So that was a good
Aw.
reminder that business
Aw.
is sometimes personal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So yeah.
beautiful.
I wish the
I love
student
that.
loan company would say that to me.
I know.
I don't care.
Come on through, Candy. Thank you. Woo! Oh, well,
I just
and
care
thank
about
you
our
for
friendship.
joining us for this morning with Soulivity. That's our message for today. Dang, yes,
Exactly.
please.
There's that. I could call my car loan also. Hey, how much do you
Right?
like me? Don't you like me a lot?
Right?
Woo.
Haven't I been wonderful
We
in our
I
relationship?
know.
can
Can't
we
we
just
skip
be
a couple of months and
we
call
could
it?
just be friends. Oh man, listen. On
Right.
that note, we want to say to our audience, listen, as we're talking about different topics today, and listen, even when we're being crazy, we want to hear from you. We want to know your thoughts, your ideas. Just comment, just post to our streams on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll include you. Ladies, and so we got a lot of heavy topics today. Our first topic comes from here in the nation's capital, where last Saturday the NAACP Board of Directors issued a formal travel advisory for the state of Florida. The travel advisory comes in direct response to Governor Ron DeSantis' aggressive attempts to erase Black history and to restrict diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in Florida schools. The formal travel notice states Florida is openly hostile to African Americans, people of color, and LGBTQ plus individuals. Before traveling to Florida, please understand that the state of Florida devalues and marginalizes the contributions of and the challenges faced by African Americans and other communities of color. Woo!
Hmm.
Just historically, just to let people know who may not understand this is not new for the NAACP. They have issued travel advisories, uh, even around the world for people of color.
Have they?
Yes, they have.
So when did they start doing that? Because that was my first
It,
huh?
it,
It's very Green Book, right? It's
yeah,
like
it's very
Oh,
Green
Green
Book.
Book.
Yeah,
Okay,
it goes
gotcha.
back to the founding, and then even after that, like I think Candy, didn't they have a travel advisory to like South Africa? I think
that sounds familiar. Like maybe
yeah,
this is
yeah,
not a
back in the
brand new.
80s and that kind of thing. But
Okay.
yeah, this is not something new. So just want to let people know that this isn't just something out of the blue, that they have done this before. And they do it when they need to. And
Hmm.
so what say of you? I have my own thoughts. Mm,
Well, thanks for the perspective there because that was my first like, huh?
yeah,
Is this overreach?
Yeah,
But you just answer that
yeah.
it's
yeah.
not overreach. Listen, Florida is just problematic, and it's because of leadership. Like Governor
Hmm.
DeSantis, I believe his goal as governor is to have nobody in that state except for straight white people,
Mm,
Yeah.
because that's what it feels like. He's like taking steps to, um, yeah, he's like not friendly to anybody who doesn't look like him.
yeah. Straight white people who give each other COVID. Right? Right?
And thank you for listening to the mic is dropped and we
Woo! Thank you for putting a fine point on that, Candice.
Right?
nothing else needs to be said.
But
Um
also, but also too, it's almost like a dog whistle for like Black people behaving, right? So
yeah.
what's
Hmm.
been going on with the banning of things in schools and all of that, it's like saying if you don't conform, if you don't assimilate and act like Black people, we want you to act like it's not a safe place. So I think that's what the NAACP is responding to.
Right.
Like, if you want to just go and be a person and do what you want to do and believe how you want to believe and think how you want to think, Florida is not a safe place for you. I have a lot of family that lives there, and
Mm-hmm.
they're older, much older Black folks who just want to
Mm-hmm.
go on about their business.
Right.
So if you're living there and you just want to go quietly about your business and you don't want to bother any white folk and you know how to behave in a certain way, you probably be okay. But I think that what the NAACP is saying is that it's a hostile place for us to progress and get educated, and have deeper conversations.
And I think that's the part that I resonated with, right? Where it's this, if you're thinking about like relocating to Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and you are like, let's say you're married and you want to start a family and you're going to go down there, this is the environment that currently exists there.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but I actually tried to move to Florida.
Oh,
Um, not long ago, by the way. It was like 6 years ago. Because believe it or not, they do one thing right. They have a really good special needs program in South Florida.
mm,
And it's
mm,
less expensive.
mhm.
There was just a million reasons. So I actually had to fight my ex to take the kids for like,
Wow.
I don't know, 2 years. Um, I'm so happy that didn't work out.
Yeah.
Could you
Mhm.
imagine me in the middle of all of this nonsense?
Right.
I would like,
Ooh.
I don't
And
know.
every day.
Yeah, I thank goodness
Ooh.
every day that I am not in Florida.
Mm,
Um,
mm, mm.
I think it's I don't know. Do you all feel like when the NAACP has to issue a travel ban for some place here in the United States, are we just moving slowly backwards?
I just keep thinking I told y'all a couple weeks ago I've been watching The Handmaid's Tale. Every time something happens,
Mic
I'm like,
drop.
oh Lord, Gilead is taking over.
Yep, exactly.
I'm like,
Listen,
there
if
they
we and
go.
but by the way, it's a great analogy, Candy,
Yeah.
because between all these states signing abortion laws and
Mhm.
this
Yes.
travel ban, yeah,
And the
it's
book
Yeah.
banning, like all
the
of a
book
sudden,
Right.
banning. Like, what in the
Absolutely.
world?
right?
Right.
The children can't read no more. It's not going to be too long before the adult women can't read anymore. If
Yep.
you're,
And then they're gonna
upstairs.
take away women's vote. Black people are gonna
Mhm.
be 3/5 of a man again.
Right?
But
Mm,
it
mm,
does
mm.
feel like, and I'm curious to get your opinion. Does it feels like a very slow slide
Yes.
backwards?
Well, that's what is the
Yeah.
metaphor they use about when you want to boil a frog?
Oh, it's you
Yeah.
turn up the heat very
Turn.
slowly.
Yes, it
Yep.
is a
Right.
slow slide, and then all of a sudden something major happens, and then like an insurrection,
Right.
and then it's
Yep.
like, oh, everybody's distracted with that, and so we start to normalize back down again, and then it starts to heat up again. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
mean, I look at it like this, and I take a historic kind of spin on it, right? Where uh the people that believe that they are superior to everybody else have lived here, been here since the founding of the nation. And one party, and then it switched over to the other party. They've been trying to keep those people under control, right? That, hey, we're not going, we have to act like we're not crazy, even though we have this part of our party that is.
Mhm.
And then you had Newt Gingrich come along. It started to heat stuff up, and then you had a Donald Trump after that, and it was like, who let the dogs out? Woo! And they're in control, and so they're doing what they've always wanted to do, especially in the South, in terms of rewriting history, um, putting forth. I mean, all the stories from from the Civil War. I mean, Civil War is about agriculture or some BS like that. I mean, this is what this is all about. And
Yeah.
so yeah.
I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead. And so I think that's what this is all about. I think this is just the underbelly of the United States, and the people who feel a certain way about people of color and people of different sexual orientations, and have always felt that way, and justify it through religion, by the way.
Always just
Yeah.
You
I
religion.
know,
I do
yeah.
think it's. I sort of want to give a shout out to a couple of groups of people that have been standing up to crazy,
Oh,
like
go ahead.
white Republicans that are like, okay, like even that's too far for me.
Right,
Mhm.
right,
You know
right,
what I mean? Which I'm
right.
like, good for them for standing up. And there was a group of 8 women, Democrats and Republicans, that banded together
Oh,
in
yeah.
Yeah.
one of the states
South
to like
Carolina, I think.
to filibuster and try and like not get the abortion ban passed. So
Hmm.
if there's any upside, is that there are people that remind us that not everybody's crazy.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So
Well,
will they stand up when we really need them to stand up? That's another question.
Right.
exactly. Well, we
That's
got a little bit more craziness to talk about. in the next segment
From Florida.
from
Right?
From
Florida.
Florida.
But
And
we're
let's
gonna
just
take
call it Florida Part 2.
but we're going to take a very quick break, and we'll be back with more of This Morning with Soulivity.
6 years ago, when I started Soulivity, my vision was to support everyone in improving their life through the discovery of their passion and purpose, so they could become the best version of themselves, to battle fear and ignorance, and create a better world today. Get inspired to live your passion and purpose. Visit Soulivity.com now.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity. Our next hot topic comes from the state of Florida and Axios, where a Florida school has banned the poem read at Joe Biden's inaugural after a parent complained it contained indirect hate messages, part of a statewide trend of blocking discussions about race and gender. A parent of two students at the Bob Graham Educational Center in Miami Lakes challenged Amanda Gorman's The Hill We Climb and 4 other books in March, arguing they were not age appropriate. Bob Graham covers grades kindergarten through 8th. Daily Salentas said that The Hill We Climb, The ABCs of Black History, Cuban Kids, Countries in the New Cuba, and Love to Langston contain references to critical race theory, gender ideology, indirect hate messages, and indoctrination, especially of socialism. She requested that they be removed from the school entirely, according to documents shared by the Florida Freedom to Read Project. Long sigh. I can't, y'all. I can't.
I want to write who do I write a letter to? I'm gonna write a letter.
Just
Can I-
Xerox it and send it to all of them, girl.
So they got part of that story wrong, Brian. They didn't ban the poem. They moved it from the little kid section to the middle school section.
That's right. That's true.
But still,
Yeah.
if it was strong enough to be read at the president's inauguration that the world was watching,
Exactly. Little kids too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was totally inspiring, and little kids should be reading that.
I just want to point out one thing before you say something, Candy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if either one of you actually saw the actual application. I'm going to try to find it.
Was it written in crayon?
Oh, that would have been a step up.
Oh, wow.
But I'll try to find it and show it to everybody. But go ahead, Candy.
No, I was just thinking, how ashamed do you have to be of your history that you feel like your kids can't know about it? Like what true history is, right? So, with Amanda Gorman's poems, what they point to is actually opening your mind up to critical thinking about what is true about our country racially,
right?
And critical race theory and everything. And I think that I hear things like Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that it teaches white children to be ashamed of themselves and all of that. And it's like, deep down, you understand that the history is so awful that you wouldn't want your children to know it.
Right.
I never thought about it that way.
Right.
Yeah, but
that's a great point.
Right? That's the sad part about it, is that they need to know it. They need to know it. It's okay that they understand that there's racial divide, because in order for it to change, or in order for us to have any sort of shifts or have a world where no one has to be ashamed.
Do you know, in her application, she said that the poem was written by Oprah Winfrey?
Boom. Here we go.
This sounds like, do you guys remember,
Here, I'm trying to share it. Here we go. So here is the application. Here's one of the pages, the front page. And as you can see, who's the author?
By the way, how do you spell Winfrey? Really?
Winfrey. Come on now. It's Winfrey.
Come on.
It's Winfrey.
Yeah.
Are you aware of professional reviews on this material? I don't need it.
I also want to point out one thing on here. It says the very first thing, to what do you object, is blank, meaning they didn't read it. They didn't
Oh,
read it.
definitely not.
They
Definitely
didn't
not.
read it. They didn't read it.
You
Yeah.
know, do you guys remember, like, was it last year, maybe the year before that, this term Karen came out?
I feel like it
Like
was
referring
during COVID.
I think I remember that.
referring to, like, there would be women screaming on the subway at black
Yeah.
people. There was a Karen that was like on a boat dock, and there was a family next to her with a black family with their boat, and she was like, "You don't belong here. I'm calling the police.
Right.
Call the cops." Anyway, this woman sounds like Karen on steroids,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and
she
you could
yeah.
YouTube Karen's.
Well, like
This is what she
Marjorie Taylor
sounds like to
Greene is
me.
the queen of the Karens. I think
Yes,
that
she
that
is.
term's been around since like George Floyd. I feel like that was because there
Yeah.
was that
Yeah,
woman
maybe.
in Central Park with her dog who tried to call.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
Yeah.
then
And
didn't she
And
got
that
like
was, I knew the guy that she called the police on.
oh,
she
really?
got sued by him, right?
I
Didn't
think
she get
so. And
Yes,
sued?
she
she
also
did.
lost her job.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, like that whole Karen thing is like, I'm so entitled.
Yeah.
It's like white privilege, bareface. And this is one woman that wrote one letter and managed to get books banned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the
Yeah.
way, how does one person have that power? Like, what's the story with that?
That's that whole Florida law. It allows for a single parent to make an objection, and you know,
That's it.
it empowers that, if it, especially if it's a conservative school board, to make that accommodation. So
Mm.
one parent can do that. And I think the way that it works is the books are like they go into a suspend mode, I think, where the books have to be taken off until there's a decision on whether or not they'll
Mhm.
be banned or restricted. But I
Yeah.
just can't believe that, you've these books that uh especially this poem, you know, socialism, really?
Yeah.
I gotta say, in my lifetime, which is like pretty long now, I have never the book banning thing is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, because remember Fahrenheit 451? I remember being like in
Yes.
8th grade and being like, that would never happen. I can't
Right.
imagine. My mom was a
Exactly.
reading teacher too, so we always
Right.
had tons of books and stuff. It's like, that's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, I like my grandmother was a superintendent. Like we were a reading family, and I was an English major undergrad.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I mean,
I, it's
uh, uh,
they're like just choking the freedom out of our country.
Mhm.
and this the title of the second book, where they talked about the ABCs of Black history. Come on now.
Mm.
That's not a middle school book. That's not
Mm.
real. That's not what it was designed to be. I mean,
Yeah.
after preschool, kids are ready to read. And so I'm sure that specifically white families have books on like the ABCs of American history,
Yeah.
right? Which is
Hmm.
basically, white history. Um and that kind of thing. And that they're reading that,
Yeah.
right? They know who George Washington is. They know who Thomas Jefferson is, right? But what about, Frederick Douglass and Crispus Attucks, and I mean, all these different people that were part of the founding. Basically, you're saying
Well,
that can't be pushed out there and
yeah,
have more in depth.
it's fundamentally detrimental to the future of our country because we're going to be raising less informed children.
Yes.
Well, I mean, people in
It's like,
control like undereducated, right? Like they don't care
well,
what
that's
color
true.
the undereducated are,
Right.
as long as, if I'm in power, I want to stay in power. So the less education you have, the less you
The
can
better.
understand and read,
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why
it's
that's
true.
the first thing they always take away is literacy. The first thing
Oh
they
yeah.
always take away when, like throughout history, when people want to be in control and in power, they take away education, knowledge, literacy,
Mm.
right?
Well,
Like,
yeah, I mean, from what I remember from my world history, people gaining power once books like the Bible were now available to the masses, where they could actually get educated on different concepts and things, right?
mhm.
And so it makes sense to what you're saying, Kenny, where it's like they attack our literacy, they make people dumber, right? Or less savvy, and they're more easily controlled. really
Right.
like propaganda,
Yep.
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You know,
I
yeah.
did you guys see the Book of Eli
Oh
Mm.
with Denzel?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
like a long
yeah.
time ago, I feel like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was such a
Mm.
twist.
that was,
Woo!
well, the movie is, it's post-apocalyptic,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And he says that he has the only remaining Bible, and
Yep.
they are literally
Right.
hunting him down the entire movie trying to get the
Trying to
Bible.
get it.
Right.
Which, I talked about the slow slide. I feel like, are we gonna get to that point? Like, so that my grandchildren can read the autobiography of Malcolm X?
Mm.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it might be the Book of Eli
Mm.
if this keeps going the way it's going.
You know, see, see, Tammy,
And
that's
how
what I'm
come,
talking
I
about.
don't know, how come nobody really important is weighing in on this? I don't mean
Mm.
reporters. I mean like superstar celebrities, like calling attention to
Like
what's happening.
people who have a big platform.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
It's
strange to me
what
Yeah.
is that? Are they just like okay? They're just
because
okay with
I don't think a Sidney Poitier or a Hera Belafonte or, I mean, we're about to talk about Tina Turner or some other folks would just have stood around
right.
not saying anything.
They'd be in Florida,
Right.
Mm.
Right, exactly.
like
They would have
protesting in the street.
Mm.
absolutely. Absolutely. I just come on, y'all. Come on, this
Right.
generation.
Well, it's like how far does something have to go before people start to take it seriously? It's a slow boil. They're
Yep.
like, oh, it's just
Yep.
Florida. Florida's always like
It's
that.
just I know. Florida's
Florida.
just they
And
should
then
take Ron DeSantis and succeed to see him come to the
right.
US.
That's funny.
But I
Um,
don't know. I think
yeah,
he's DeSantis is doing exactly what he intended to do, which is show the country that he's the one to vote for
right,
if you want a whitewash nation.
right,
Mhm.
right,
So he's
right.
like mission accomplished. He's
Mm,
doing like
mm, mm.
bananas stuff.
Yeah.
Why don't we make a turn and bring some happiness, but in a little bit of a mournful way? Our next topic comes from iNews and the country of Switzerland, where the world continues to mourn the death of Tina Turner. The unstoppable singer and stage performer who teamed up with husband Ike Turner for a dynamic run of hit records and live shows from the 1960s and 70s, and survived her horrifying marriage to triumph middle age with the chart-topping "What's Love Got to Do with It." She was 83. Here's just a few of her many accomplishments, y'all. Woo! She sold more than 150 million records worldwide. She won 12 Grammys. She's one of, I think, either one of or the only person, one of the few that have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. Once in 1991 with Ike, and then on her own in 2021. She was honored at the Kennedy Center in 2005 with Beyonce and Oprah amongst those who were praising her. And her life became the basis for a great film, Broadway musical, and an HBO documentary in 2021 that she called her public farewell. Woo, Tina, there will never be another.
Mm-mm.
There will never be another.
Yeah.
Missing you already, girl. Missing you already.
Yeah, but
Oh
her music
man.
will live on
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Um,
you guys have any memories, specific memories of how she touched your lives? I know I have.
I just remember being a little girl and like whenever you'd see her on TV, because it's not like, you couldn't get videos on demand back then.
Right.
But
Right. Exactly.
seeing her on TV, and my parents had an album, and whenever she would play, just instantly going into performance mode and trying to do like what she does, like that dancing and how she was always so energetic and frenetic and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And just being little, and me and my little sister trying to do big wheels keep on turning and
Trial Mary.
trying to do the dance and wearing my mom's wigs and like
We're gonna talk about Mary now.
right? Yeah, she always like she's been a staple in my music echelon my entire life.
Wow.
yeah, I mean, I think probably for all of us. Like she was definitely a staple in my family also. But I connect
Mhm.
with Tina Turner on a completely different level, which
Mhm.
is as a woman.
Mhm.
Mm.
A woman that was in an abusive relationship,
There's
like
that.
not
Yeah.
Yeah.
to that level, but
Y
the fact
yeah.
that she redefined who she was and how she was going to show up when she was like 40
Yeah.
is basically my
Yeah.
story. Like we literally have the same story.
Mm.
Mm.
So I was sad, like really sad, but also really grateful um, that she was such a fantastic role model for hope,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like what's possible. I thought she
A
was amazing.
you know,
Absolutely.
mine is, I mean, outside of, the musician, the performer, it's like, you leave nothing on stage, right? I mean, that's the pinnacle of being a performer that I remember on that side of my life. But the other side has to do with something I think, Tammy, that you were kind of talking about, and that is sh- this is a woman that had already been a star, had gone through this marriage and that kind of thing, but that when in her middle age was like, oh, I'm just getting started, and came out unstoppable as a force, showing that, listen, age is just a number, and that you can accomplish whatever you want at any time you want, if you're willing to put in the time and the effort and that kind of thing to make it happen,
And
and
sacrifice.
sacrifice. And so she just, I mean, what love came, everybody was like, what? And then I remember, what was it? It was, I think, a concert in 1991. This was, I think, when HBO was showing the concerts and that kind of thing. And a friend of mine, who was actually working production on that show, sent me the set list. Yeah, she had like damn near 25, 30 songs on this thing.
Mm.
And she had 4 wardrobe changes. And she was basically on stage like 95% of the time.
Um,
Everybody else got a break. She didn't take no break.
mm.
She was the epitome of loving what she does.
Yeah.
She was a true rock star
She was a rock
on
star.
stage and off stage.
Um, one last thing on this too. Um, she was asked a question during Larry King. Remember when Larry King was on air?
Mhm. Mhm.
Why she had moved away to
Mhm.
Europe,
Mhm.
and her answer was simple. She said, "I'm a bigger star here."
Mm.
She said, "Bigger than America?" She says, "Yeah." She says, "I sell out like the Rolling Stones and David Bowie and all the greats. I sell out like they do here. I don't
Mm.
sell out like that in the United States. It takes a lot of
Interesting.
effort to put together a show and promotion where I can actually have that same type of notoriety." She said,
Mm.
"Here it's easy. I just put on a show and the people show up."
Wow.
Well,
Crazy,
she's
right?
also a smart businesswoman then also.
Right?
Mhm.
Like
Absolutely.
Josephine Baker vibes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's like
absolutely.
sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, um,
Yeah.
my great grandfather was an opera singer. So
Oh, I
this is
didn't
like,
uh,
yeah, but he took my grandfather, he was married to my great grandmother, and he was like, I'm going to Europe because it is too hard
yeah.
Mm.
here. So he took my grandfather and they traveled all over Europe so he
Wow.
could
Wow.
like perform and get paid for doing it.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, that's real.
Mm.
Well, I mean, back in the day when I was playing, I had definitely considered going overseas and making a go at it. Um, because I know other friends of mine that did, and they didn't come back.
Well,
Mm.
it's why some like I have a friend that went to Europe to play basketball.
Hmm.
He couldn't he couldn't get any airtime in the NBA here, so he went to Europe for like 5 years and played and
Wow.
got paid.
Wow.
So maybe
Wow.
it's just Europe is like maybe a little more friendly,
Little less
Mhm.
racist.
a little less racist.
Wow. Speaking of this, here's another little quick footnote on this. So she was born Anna Mae Bullock in segregated Tennessee, but she spent the last part of her years on, and get this, a 260,000 square foot estate
Wow.
on Lake Zurich in Switzerland. Talk about a person who came a long way.
Hmm.
Tina. Favorite song, real quick. Candy, what's your favorite song of hers?
I mean, that's definitely Proud Mary. Their version of
Yeah.
Proud Mary was a big one when I was little. But then
Yeah.
when she came out with What's Love Got to Do with It, and I would be imitating that song. And I know those are the more famous ones, but they also played on NPR her re-recording of Prince's what's that song? Which Prince song? She remade a Prince song. And if you Google what Prince song did Tina Turner remake, it's the best remake of any song. And it was like she's one of the only people that Prince was happy to have.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he was a big, he's a fan. He was a huge fan of Tina.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank on which song it was, but she only did it with one. So if you Google it.
Yeah. What about you, Tami?
Oh, same. What's Love Got to Do with It? I feel like that was the first, maybe not the first, but like one of the first, excuse me, women's empowerment songs.
Yeah, it's her freedom song.
That's her freedom song. Yep. I loved it. Loved that. They used to, I went to an all-white high school, but that song they blasted in the cafeteria at lunch.
the lunch people are like, you just gonna have to fire me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm playing this. You just got to fire me, and it was like
take your food and fire me after. But yeah, we were like, yes.
I just remembered it. It was Let's Pretend We're Married.
Oh, I never heard that.
Of that, which is
I never heard her version of that.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh my God, that's so good. Oh, chills. Mine, before we go to break, it of course a tie between What's Love Got to Do with It and Proud Mary, but my actual favorite right now in this moment is Simply the Best. Simply the Best. It is just kind of like,
I know. You know what? I love that song, but I was in network marketing for a while. And whenever the top earner would come on stage, they played that song. You're simply the best.
I mean,
than all the rest.
It's like she's saying, I mean, it's if what Love Got to Do with It is her like freedom song. It's like that song is okay. I've left nothing behind. And as I go into this next, as I transition out of here and go beyond and see David Bowie and maybe kick some soul around with Sam Cooke and that kind of thing, I'm gonna let you know who I am. I was the GOAT, right? I'm the best, and I felt that way about my life and my career. So, one more segment to go. We're gonna take a quick break. Hope you're enjoying our Hot Topic Friday on This Morning with Soulivity. And we'll be right back.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
Hey y'all, this is Brian Johnson, and we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity. I'm joined by some very amazing co-hosts, Tami Gaines and Candice Harper. This is our Hot Topic show, and our last topic for the day comes from here in the United States. from the USA Today, where this weekend we honor our nation's treasure, our veterans who gave their lives in the cause of freedom around the world and here, even in the United States, during a national holiday we call Memorial Day. Now, Memorial Day isn't just about a long weekend road trip, backyard barbecue, or sales. The real meaning of the nation's holiday is much more somber. Memorial Day was declared a national holiday through an act of Congress in 1971, and its roots date back to the Civil War era, according to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. And here's why I want to make sure that we talked about this today, because I think a lot of people don't know this part of the history of Memorial Day. The first observance of what would become Memorial Day, some historians think, took place in Charleston, South Carolina, at a site of a horse racing track that Confederates had turned into a prison holding Union prisoners. Blacks in the city organized a burial of deceased Union prisoners and built a fence around the site, Yale historian David Blight wrote in the New York Times in 2011. Then on May 1st, 1865, they held an event there, including a parade. Blacks who fought in the Civil War participated, spiritual readings and songs and picnicking, and a commemorative marker was erected there in 2010. Pretty cool, right?
That's very cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the origins of Memorial Day date back to the honoring of Union prisoners, but that was put in place by the Black veterans of that war.
Wow.
Interesting.
Another one of those things that you won't find in your average history book.
And you definitely won't find it in Florida.
Dude, they're gonna say, "Oh no, that happened in Miami. Don't you remember?"
Yeah, exactly. Poor Miami.
Oh my gosh. Any special plans that you guys are gonna have for the weekend at
I
all?
mean, American holidays, even the ones that are as meaningful as Memorial Day, is just another excuse to eat too much.
Damn, you ain't never lied.
Right? So
You
that's
ain't
probably
never
what's going to
lied.
happen in our house is
Yeah.
eating too much.
And y'all candy can
Yeah.
burn. Ooh, I'm shoot. Whenever you make that mac and cheese and put that on social media, I'm like, I feel like I want to be like, Candy.
Well, the sad part about it is I don't know how to cook for a small number of people. So when I do cook it, we always have like a lot. So
Tami, see, that's fine with us, right?
I'm good. Listen, I make mac and cheese, but it's not like the slamming mac and cheese. So yes, please. I'm gonna be knocking on your door also.
I resemble that remark, Tami.
You're all welcome. This time I did, Tami, I did it with it was a seafood one. So I had like shrimp and lump crab meat and Old Bay. But I also do 5 cheeses. Like it's 5 cheese macaroni.
Yeah, the 5 cheeses.
Ooh.
Wait, where are you?
I'm in Maryland. I'm not that far. Where you are in Jersey, I think it's pretty close. It's like a short drive. I want to say like 3 hours.
Yeah, because you're on the north.
Yeah, I'm 3 hours to Baltimore. All right, I'll swing through. Go ahead and make me a tan. I'm gonna swing through and grab it, then come straight back.
If it makes it back to your house, you're gonna be on the road like
on the road.
Simply the best.
At the rest area.
Right. But
like why am I waiting to eat this? Tami, what about you? What are you going to be doing over the weekend?
I gotta be honest. We have been on roller skates for the last 3 months. Between my daughter's like softball, work, school, like me, like it's just been a lot. So we are going to unplug. I think we're gonna go do a movie marathon later today.
Oh, that's
just go sit and watch like a bunch of like in the theater.
Yeah.
But I have intentionally made no plans. I just want to like rest my brain for a minute.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's really nice.
An actual holiday weekend.
An actual holiday weekend. I do think about my grandfather though. He fought in the Korean War.
Oh,
So
wow.
so I
Mm.
do like give a nod on Memorial Day, like, to remember Pop.
Yeah.
Aw.
I have an uncle. My uncle Butch fought in Vietnam.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, he didn't die in Vietnam. He actually died from alcoholism after coming back from Vietnam, but still
Why
very
why does that feel like a Mel Brooks movie? Like,
right?
Mel,
oh my God.
we
Or
got a
Stanley
deal for
Kubrick
you.
or who did was Stanley Kubrick Full Metal Jacket?
Oh yeah.
I think,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
he had one of those, the Vietnam vets coming back. A lot of them had addictions and,
Absolutely. Did you
mental.
see
Wow.
yesterday, Candy, where and Brian,
Mhm.
down in DC, bipartisan veterans that are in Congress, they were hand washing the Vietnam Veterans Memorial
Oh,
in DC.
wow.
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 Yeah.
Bipartisan, like, and they were all veterans. And I think he said there's 3 remaining Vietnam veterans still in Congress
Mm,
that serve
Yeah.
in Congress.
wow.
Yeah.
So that I
Wow.
thought that was really nice.
Yeah, it is.
What are you doing, Brian?
You know, I think like you, Tammy, I think I'm gonna do a shout out to my ancestors that fought. I had always kind of wondered why when I was younger, why I had like partially the desire to serve. And what I found out through ancestry.com and all that, that people on specifically on my grandmother's side of the family date back to the Civil War. So I had my great grandfather and his brother served in the Civil War, and then my her uncles served in World War II, and then my uncle served in Vietnam.
Mm.
Actually, one of the uncles also served in Korea, and so there's a long history there. And so I just wanted to take some time to honor. Maybe I'll go out to Arlington, just
Mm.
kind of walk around and kind of pay homage to them.
Can anybody go to Arlington?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can
that's
walk
open.
around.
Oh, I didn't know that. I
That's
mean, it's
open.
sort of like, do I want to go walk around a cemetery? I don't
It
know,
it's
but
beautiful.
Yeah.
it always looks so beautiful from the pictures.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
It is gorgeous. It's sits up on a hill. You can look down into Washington D.C.
Yeah.
I think if anybody's here or that kind of thing, I think any of the memorials on the National Mall you know are appropriate from Vietnam to Korea to um the World War II memorial,
Mhm.
which is really spectacular too.
Mhm.
My parents actually got married in the chapel in Arlington.
Oh,
Really?
Yep, it's a
wow.
military chapel. It's like right outside the gates, and you can see Arlington from it. But
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do weddings there because I know that they did obviously with the wars in the decades since. They do a lot of funerals there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where my friend's father, who was a colonel, he just a couple weeks ago was eulogized at that chapel. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's where my parents got
Oh,
married.
interesting.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
the
pretty cool.
68.
I
Yeah.
need to make a trip down. We're still doing the college tour, so I wanted to put DC on my
Oh,
daughter's radar.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe we'll
mean,
visit when we
Arlington's
come
crazy.
down.
absolutely. It's beautiful. I did go to an event there like maybe 3 years ago. In the the big hall there where they have all the different uniforms of the military and that kind of thing. But definitely, Tammy. It's a must see. It's a
Mm.
must see.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
I mean,
never
yeah.
made it to the African American Museum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went down, but we just didn't have enough time to. I was in DC pretty frequently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I didn't know it was public, so I'm gonna put that on my list.
Cool.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, but probably just gonna, Saturday is, I think we got a picnic that we're gonna go to. I don't know what we're gonna do after that. Um, I think Sasha's dad is gonna be in town, so we'll probably do something with him before he goes back
Hmm.
to Jamaica Island.
Hmm.
Bagwan Pop. But
We are
yeah,
planting. That is the other I forgot to mention. We are.
yeah.
That's the only lift I'm gonna do is to plant.
To plant.
Yeah, I need to get my garden. I need to get my garden together.
Mm.
Oh shoot. Um, Well, girl, it always ends too quick. We're done with our hot topics. I'm like, why don't we do some shameless plugs? Candy, anything going on in your world that you want to tell people about?
Yeah, this week I just soft launched a digital course, which is now available on my website, CandiceHarperLoveCoach.com. It's a love life that loves you back. And you know that I help professional women of color and culture create loving relationships for women of color. And go to my site, go to work with me, and scroll down. My digital course started last Monday. Join. It's 6 weeks. It's a 6-week self-paced course.
Nice.
And it's priced to have transformation and not break the bank. For those who aren't ready to do a full investment in one-on-one, it's a really great way to create a loving relationship and not break the bank.
Nice.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited about it.
And Tami, another Tami's Table is coming up, and we're going to be doing a replay of a great episode. Can you tell people a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we're going to be Monday. If you listen in on Monday, it's my conversation with Ed Blunt, who is a tremendous motivational speaker. He shared the stage with people like Les Brown and Tony Robbins. And we talk about like a very specific aspect of resilience. So tune in for that. And then I'll have big news like Candy in about 3 weeks.
Woo, 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 woo. I love it. I love it. We love big news. We're having big fun. Dun, 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 dun. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Appreciate both of you.
Should we recap that basically we've all agreed that Florida needs to drift off into the ocean?
It's just an appendage.
Yeah,
exactly. Be careful.
I know. Look at the map. It is just kind of hanging down there. Can we just
like
snap it off?
Do you need your pinky?
What did my man say to Malcolm X in that movie? He said, "Be careful, Malcolm." That's all we're gonna say. Just be careful. Don't be careful if you're going to be going down there. Anyway, listen. Thanks everybody for being here. We do this every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern, right here for our live broadcast, and you can listen to this show again at Thursdays and Fridays at 9 a.m. on KMET 1490 AM for all of you guys on the West Coast. Until next time, keep having real conversations that empower, and we'll see you next time.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.